Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss about view binding and how to use it. So before that, let's know what is view binding. View binding is a feature that allows Android developers to easily write code that interact with views. This means suppose you have an activity layout file, you can directly interact with that instead without using this find view by ID for the initialization of the views from the code. In short way, this will reduce the number of lines of code that is used for the initialization of the views in the code. Basically, how it works, whenever you enable this view binding, it will generate a binding class for each of the layout files. And in that binding class, all the views are stored. And whenever you just want to use any of these views, you will just refer them or just create the object of that binding and access the views. Basically, it is a fast-paced development. So in previous time, we were like we were like we have to line number of codes for this find view ID, find view ID. So whenever you are developing a production-ready application, there are uses of lot of views, a high number of views, we can say. So it takes a lot of times and like check is also required for this initialization of the views with their correct IDs. And we also face NPE errors for that if we add something incorrect IDs. All these will be like you can say trashed out by using view binding. So let's test this view binding with a real code example. So this is an app, just an UI. Here we have the username field, the password field, and the description field. That's it. So now let's see. First of all, we have to enable this view binding. For that, we need to go to this build.gradle app. Then we just need to add a line of code. That's that's it. After enabling this, we need to sync. The sync is completed now. Now let's move to main activity. Yes, so as you can see, I have, let me try out Fragment. Yeah, so this is the activity in XML. I can see the preview here. So I have just used the whole into a scroll view and then added this logo, and these are the material library components. So for that I have also included material implementation. That's it. So now let's see how can we directly interact with the views. So see, I just wrote activity main binding. So how this name comes now, you can check. This is now called as activity main file, right? So as per that name only, automatically a binding class is created. That name is activity main binding because we have the file name as activity main. Now let's give it a name. Now yes, we in here we have to send the layout inflator to this binding. Then we need the content. That's it. Now we have the view ready, and we can see if we run our app also, it will work. Let me run the app once to show you that. Fine. So now the actual use that we are going to use. So let's make a method as set listeners. Now I will call the method. Let's suppose I want to read this username field, and as you can see, for that username I have assigned the ID. Okay, I have not assigned any ID. Let's assign an ID as username et. Cool. So now I will just use binding dot username dot et dot. See, you can see all the methods that were available for the edit text were now accessible with a single line of code. Let's try to toast this thing out. Okay, now we can set a click listener to the next button. That's it. Okay, fine. So you can see I just added a like means whenever you hit on the next button, it will show a toast by reading the data from the username field. Let's run the app. Let's type here test 3, the toast message. So you can see we got just easily with like you don't have to right now find view by ID, initialize the views and all. Just we implemented this line and we are now able to access all the IDs from this activity file. So you can see I have assigned the next button ID to the this one, this button view. So this makes our task, you can say, easy, lot easier. In the similar way, you can also do for like you can access all the we can do here like let's say we want to read the description. So for the description, we just we have already set the ID. So what we can do is the same toast we can add in the like description. Yeah, let's see. I got the text. Now run the app. See how easy it is. Now like our development process and the speed has been increased. Instead of taking or wasting time by the declaration of the views, we are just able to access these things very easily. So in case of the fragment also we can do in the same way. Just first step to get the binding class object, create the object. Now inflate, initialize. We already have the inflator here and we create container here, and this is attached to root as false. That's it. Now we can just get the view like by doing view is equal to binding dot get root, and you can return that. That's it. So like in activity now in the exactly in the same way you can do this. Another good practice while using binding in a fragment is like clearing the binding in case of the destroy when the fragment is destroyed by adding this. Also, if you want any layout file to be ignored from the class creation, like let's say for this layout, I don't want view binding. So you can just add view binding ignore as true. This will tell that please don't create binding class for this layout file. So thank you all for watching this video. We'll be coming up with more videos very soon.